What up folks, it's Alex here from RCHQ, and today we're going to be taking a look at this. This is a Big Rock 4x4 3S BLX ready to run RC car from the guys at Arrma. So we're going to have a quick look inside. I'm going to show you what you get in the box, as well as having a quick look at the Big Rock itself. Now if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, because we will be taking this out for a proper good bashing in the future, so stick around for that. So first up, let's take a quick look at the box. This is the standard box that you get with the Big Rock. On the front, we've just got a picture of the Big Rock itself, and then a few useful bits of information. On this side, you can see it shows you what's new. So you can pause this if you want. I'll put a little picture on screen so you can see all of the details, so you can see exactly what you get on there. And then if we flip it around, there's some more details on this side, again, just showing you exactly what's included. Now, while it is ready to run, that means that it includes pretty much everything you need, but there are some exceptions. You need 4 AA batteries for your transmitter. You also need your LiPo batteries and a charger before you can actually get this thing running, because it doesn't come with any batteries at all within the box. So that's the boring stuff, that's the box. Let's crack it open and take a look inside. Ta-da! Here's the good stuff. So we're going to have a little look in this box first and see what we get in here. So first up, we've got this, the transmitter, and this is a Spectrum SLT3. It's not the most well made in the world, but it is nice and light, it's got a good grip, and it seems to stand up pretty well. So let me talk you through it really quickly. On the left-hand side here, we've got the power button, just for switching it on and off, steering and throttle reverse switches, and then we've also got a throttle limiter here, which is actually really handy. So we've got 100, 75 and 50. If you're messing around, you're playing with your RC car and you want to pass it over to someone that's less experienced than yourself, you can just knock the power down so your RC car isn't quite as fast. Just means they're not going to smash it into a brick wall at 50 miles an hour, which is always a good thing. Over on the right hand side, we've got a couple more dials. So we've got our steering rate for starters, and then we've got our throttle and our steering true. So if it starts to veer to the left or the right as you're accelerating, you can just adjust those using these little dials here. Underneath that, we've got a status LED, so you can see when it's powered on or powered off. We've got a little switch down here. This remote does have 3 channels, so you can map that little button down there to do some additional things if you want to. If you set up any lights or anything like that in your RC car, you can map it to that 3rd channel. We've got our wheel up here, which has a nice foam coating to it. Nice bit of resistance, works really well. And then lastly, we've got our trigger down here. You pull back for acceleration, and then obviously you push it forward for braking. Now, while this is a ready-to-run car, you do of course need 4 AA batteries to put in the transmitter to get it going. So there you go, that's that. Right, underneath the car, we've got this, which is our little goodie bag of stuff. So let's open that up. First of all, we have this. It's a technical pack. So let's just open this. We've got the exploded view, so you can see all the components within the car. And then if you flip it over, we've got some brief instructions on how to change the pinion if you need to. Next up, we've got the Get Started guide. Really simple, standard instruction manual, just showing you how to get going and what you need to do. If you are new to the RC hobby, you're new to this level of RC car, I would recommend having a quick look mainly at the battery information within these, just to make sure that you don't burn your car out or explode any batteries and that sort of thing. Next up, we've got this little goodie bag. So the red tool in there is just the tool for taking the wheels off, any nuts and bolts, that sort of thing. It's a multi-use tool. They're not the best, honestly. They shred pretty easily, but they will certainly get you going. But I recommend hop on Amazon, find yourself some other tools that will do the job a little bit better. We've also then got a couple of Allen keys, again, just for undoing things within the car. And lastly, we've got these little black clips, hopefully you can see on there. They're actually for the shock, so you can adjust the ride height. So that's that. That's everything you seem to get. Let's have a look at the car itself. Yeah. And here it is, the real good stuff. So this is the Arrma Big Rock. Oh. And as you can see, it's a really nice looking little RC. It's a 1/10 scale, so it's nice and small. It's also nice and light. It weighs about 3 kilos there or thereabouts without any batteries. Add 300 grams-ish for a 3S battery, and you're looking at just over 3 odd kilos, so it's still pretty light. It's easy to shop around. You can shove it in a bag, take it with you if you're going out, and it's not too much of a pain. It's a satin sort of matte black finish on the shell. It does come with a couple of decals, so you've got stickers for your windows and your doors along the sides, as well as on the rear and on the front. We've got a nice plastic bumper across the front, a rear bumper, and then of course we've got a little wheelie bar. Suspension feels pretty good. Not bad at all. And then we've got our 4 wheels on the outside. So these are the D-Boots Ragnarok. Now they are vented, so they're actually vented tyres rather than vented wheels, which means they've drilled holes in the tyres and the wheels themselves are completely sealed, which is a nice touch. It just means that it's not an additional thing that you guys have to do. The downside, these wheels and tyres aren't the best. I like the way they look. I think they look pretty cool, but I know a hell of a lot of people that have bought the Big Rock and then they choose to put the Granite Fortress wheels on instead, just because they're a bit more grippier. They look a little bit better. Some people prefer the look of them, and they just give you a general improved performance with the Big Rock. However, I don't mind them. I think they do an all right job. It's completely up to you. We've of course got our 4 body pins on here, which we're gonna take off now and have a look at what's inside. Straight away, we do have these little hangers, which are meant to keep the clips attached so that you don't lose them. Unfortunately, I've just torn that one, so we'll have to get a replacement for that. It's because I was yanking on it, I've actually ripped it. Fortunately, we can 3D print our own, so it's not the end of the world, but something to bear in mind. Ta-da! So here's the body in all its glory. It's quite firm actually. It feels quite sturdy. It's quite thick. We've got the Don't Just Bash Blast logo on the inside, as you can see. I would probably still firm that body up. My preferred method is just to use some duct tape, but of course you could do the shoe glue method. You can do whatever you want just to toughen that shell up a little bit if you wanted to. Right, and then here it is, all the good stuff on the inside. Now this thing is a 3S car that's capable of 50 miles an hour in optimal conditions. You can run it on 2S batteries if you prefer, but a 1/8 scale this size, you will get the most of it if you run it on 3S, which is what we plan to do. Now the battery connectors, this is the IC5 connector. The IC5s are a smart version of the EC5. So any EC5 battery will do the trick. You don't need to buy the Spectrum smart batteries. Yes, they're apparently very good. They do lots of smart stuff, but you don't need to buy them. We generally choose the Z or HRB batteries just because they're cheap and they're readily available from Amazon with next day delivery. There's a few links to the batteries we use down in the description below. We're running the Spectrum BLX 100 ESC on this thing, which again is capable of 3S. The motor is a Spectrum Firma 3200 kV, and that does have a heatsink on it and a 25mm cooling fan. The servo is a Spectrum X651, and then the receiver, which is for our transmitter, is an SLR 300. It's also just worth mentioning that all of those electronics included are waterproof. You can't really submerge them, but you'll definitely be able to use the Big Rock in the rain or the snow without worrying about it too much. And that's basically everything that you need to know about the electronics. Let's talk about some of the overall components. And pretty much everything on here is a composite plastic material. There's not much metal on this thing, not like the Arrma 6S line. So we've got a plastic chassis. Obviously the suspension arms are plastic. All of our suspension mounts and everything over here, that's all plastic, as well as the front, back bumpers and everything in between. We've then got oil dampened shocks on all 4 corners. Now these shocks are pretty good. They feel pretty nice, but they are notorious for leaking a little bit of oil. So when you buy one of these, you may want to get yourself some oil just on the off chance that you need to rebuild these shocks. We've got adjustable turnbuckles on each of the 4 corners, and then we've got the plastic drive shafts. We do also have a plastic drive shaft in the middle, but it's actually a really nice design because you can just pull it. It's spring loaded, which means it's really quite easy to get out So if you need to do any maintenance or anything else within there at all, we'll just shove that back in there for now. The motor is all connected down here, and again, it's all relatively easy to pull out. We've got a pull tab here, so it's a couple of screws. You pull the whole thing out in one big go, and then you can get to the pinion if you need to. Now, it's worth noting there isn't a speed pinion in the box. You only get the original pinion on here. If you do want to increase the speed of this thing, you will need to go out there and buy the speed pinion for yourself. And that about covers everything in the box and all the key features of this Arrma Big Rock. So if you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see some smashing and bashing about with this thing. We've also got an Arrma Granite coming very soon, so we're going to be able to take the two out together, give them a proper good blast and see how they hold up. So remember to hit that subscribe button, hit the bell to be notified. Thanks for watching. Take it easy. I'll catch you next time. See ya.